Where does
We
he
should
come
be
from?
live.
Portugal.
Well, there'll be the Twitch delay before it goes live. Like a standard delay on Twitch. I don't know what the delay is though.
17 seconds.
Yeah, it's just gone
Is
on. It's just gone on. Yeah, there we go. We're going live. Finally, right. I'm gonna get these games underway.
You might have beat me there.
Games for the Bronzy Bears.
This is for the Bronzy Bears and the Silver Salmons.
Why are they salmons?
Salmons?
That
Salmons.
implies they swim upstream.
I don't know.
I would have much preferred silver Sasquatches.
Sasquatches. I don't know. Did they look like Sasquatches?
Right, there's little rings.
A lot of people who play this game look like Sasquatches.
Oh yeah, they grinded their way out of ones. Of course, that's
Right. I can't fit you all into things. So if I invite Branabus and Nestru to view, to spectate.
Okay.
Come, come
Right.
down
Invite
here,
Nestru for
find
now.
one, and then you can shout hop near this one.
Oh, you
Where's
can only
Bran?
invite one of us because you need a spot to spectate, don't you?
Oh yeah.
They can spectate off me, so that's...
Right. Okay. So I've got Team 1 here. I'm gonna invite these guys now. If they're in the Solish chat, then I can invite them.
Yeah, there's another one here that's not
If you're watching the stream, guys, please
So
know
just
that
stand
you
next
are
to it,
going
shout hop,
on
shoot
Team 1.
shots.
Invite.
Don't knock next to this one, go the other one over that way. So there's and then just
All
teleport
these.
to shout
Like how
hop.
many fantasy points I've got now. So important that I win.
Smurfgasm switched channel.
Oh, I did.
I'm just waiting for these lot to jump to Team 1.
Thugdill switched channel.
Team 1, please, guys. Go, go, go.
Thugdill switched channel.
Oh my god. They can't.
Oh, pick
Just-
me! Oh, I know!
thanks for the
I
follow.
know! Me!
Dat lol streamer. Welcome to the stream.
Oh, pick me! Oh, I know! I
Welcome
know!
to
Me!
the stream,
Me!
Branabus. I can't believe you're not following, man. Why haven't you been following before
I
now?
just noticed there when you said about followers, I was like, oh crap, I should probably actually be
Thungil,
following.
come on,
God.
Thung.
Such a
Move
bad member of the
over.
community, Stu.
Come on. Go, go,
Oh,
go.
yeah, I'm letting the team down.
Thungil, move. Fucking move. Move.
God
Yes.
damn it, team 1. Get your
Right.
things together.
Right. Team 2
Oh,
underway.
pick me!
Welcome
Oh, I
to
know!
the
I know!
stream.
Me!
Hammer smash. My god, all the coaches are suddenly following. Nestru, if you suddenly start following, I seriously will emo quit. Right, Time Bandit, where are you, mate? Time Bandit,
Now
Time
that you
Bandit.
said.
Time Bandit, Ben Pierce. Phoenix Burst. Cersei. And.
To get in the lobby, you should get them to line up with like top lane at the top, then jungle, mid, AD carry support, so that
Okay.
you don't have to do it when you get into game.
That's what I'm gonna do now, so.
Okay.
I'm just trying to get. Wait, the screen's too big, I can't see. Right. Team 1.
Screen's too big.
Screen's too big.
If the
ADC
screen was
thumb.
smaller, you'd be able to see more of it.
Mid.
Are you fucking watching me like
cast.
on a beamer or something?
Oh no, what?
Harriola
Don't you know
switched
what a
channel.
beamer is? I
No.
don't mean that
Oh,
BMW.
it's a car, as
I
far
don't
Yeah, I
mean
was
that
gonna say
BMW.
it's a car, mate.
A beamer? That's in the German countries. A beamer means projector.
I'm sorry. How couldn't I know that just living in England, being English and not speaking German? So I'm just so sorry, Chris.
You should be, buddy.
Delirium
You're
joined the
disgraced to this
server.
community.
Oh.
How do you not know how the Germans operate?
Yeah, I was gonna
Phoenix
say,
Burst
I'm a
You
Saw
could
German.
be
switched
afraid of
channel.
Nazis. Wait,
Prepare
oh,
switched
shit,
channel.
stream.
God damn it.
He
Hey, I
checks
live in Austria,
Time
I'm allowed to
Bandit
say those
switched
things.
channel.
This is
I
why
have
I have to
suffered
be
the
on stream with you.
discrimination.
To like police what you say. Make sure you don't
Ayaka
offend
switched
anyone.
channel.
Yeah, actually, you guys are on stream, so you don't hear me speaking about bot lane. Because you know my opinion about bot lane. It just looks
Oh.
scary.
Okay. Well, it looks like we've got everyone in lobby.
No, Cersei, yeah.
Aldi's switched channel.
Me, to
Death switched channel.
just follow that as well.
Where's my vodka? Fuck. 1 second. 1 second.
But I'm alcoholics.
I'm not an alcoholic, I drink very rarely.
I'm just gonna use
Not a lot. Anyway, big effort.
Okay, right. The games are set up. Those are the team. They know what lanes they're playing.
They know far more than us then.
Yeah, I was gonna say they fucking should do.
The real Kane, the real Kane, switched channel.
Yeah, I just need to disconnect off TS because I realise I've got all my noises going again. I'm shutting them up now. I'm shutting them up.
Transfer, rough, joy, disconnected from the server.
There we go. Right. Ralph, you're in the wrong channel, mate. Get out.
Oh, okay.
I'm undead everywhere. Undead.
Okay.
That was so rude, Tally. You just come in like, get out. Don't belong here.
All good to go, guys. Come on. Are you all good to go? Your name is on TS. Oh my god.
I keep stopping.
These little camera whores. Okay. Just waiting for somebody to tell me if they're all good to go. I will be recording this, and obviously you'll have the coaches' comments throughout the game. And then after the game, if we all move back to the events room, we will be able to have a quick chat with you while I set up the next game, and then we'll go again, if we can.
Oh, okay. Fair enough.
All good to go. Go where? Go home. Oh well. And these guys wonder why they're little bronzy bears.
Well, whittle bronze you back.
Why is there a giant Poro obscure in the chat?
Because the Poro is my security guard.
Okay, your Poro filters the chat.
Yeah.
Anyone got any issues? I have issues.
Oh, you've got too many issues, mate.
Okay, so they've started. It's blind pick, remember, because we don't want bans.
Guy wanting to
They want to be learning the champs they play. If they're going to play a champ that is consistently banned in ranked, then that's probably stupid of them, I think.
I
Oh,
probably.
okay.
we're doing blind pick.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm gonna have to watch the champion select on the stream, but it's
Well,
fine.
we've yeah. I don't want to give too much away just in case they're ghosting, but because obviously that's
intense
like
ghosting. No one talk about picks until
no one,
into the
no
loading.
one, because obviously if they're ghosting anyway, they can see. But
Yeah,
I
was
think-
gonna say, the
I
village
cannot
just
comment on
happens
the
to-
Urgot pick.
there's three that have been insta locked, so I think you can comment on them.
The three in stock.
There is
Then
Yasuo
the enemy team know what they've locked.
and
Well, I
Vi.
think that the fact that all 10 players have picked Poppy is really exciting. I didn't even know that was possible, but I think that's going to be a really intense game.
Interesting team comp.
Are they going in the right lanes? That's top, that's support, that's jungle. Yep, that's fine. Phoenix, yeah.
I'm really interested to see how the AD carry Poppy's going.
Hello.
I expect he'll be very strong with an Infinity Edge.
You know what my vodka orange juice is missing?
This is only the first
it
game.
orange juice?
That lol streamer, yeah, mate.
Is
Wine,
it orange
actually.
juice?
Need more wine.
I need to move. Where's my Poro? Let's move the Poro a bit, because oh no, there's no bans, so it's alright. The Poro is fine.
By the way, Tally, we are allowed to drink on stream, right?
Yeah, you can drink as long as you're not eating,
Because
man.
I have so many students, I cannot go.
Okay,
This is
the
hitting
game's
bottle
locked
already.
in now. You can now comment on the champs.
Okay.
Okay, so
Is this? Oh no, it's Thresh support, it's not Vel'Koz support. Okay. I was really excited. God damn it.
alright,
We've got 3 minutes
We'll
before it
start with
starts,
the
so you
purple
can
team.
comment.
we'll
the
start with the
problem-
purple team.
Phoenix
So their
versus
bot lane
Nami.
is Sivir Nami.
I've been teaching Phoenix versus Nami, so hopefully he's been listening
Why
to
didn't
me.
he come
'cause
to
yeah, but-
me? What?
Where is it?
What?
As just a lane of Sivir Nami versus Caitlyn Thresh, they're gonna struggle in early game trades quite heavily because Nami versus Thresh, you get out autoed quite hard. Sivir versus Caitlyn's just hell. You sit there like, eat my boomerang blade, and she's like, lol, I'm too far away.
Coincidentally,
Wow.
she gets auto attacked quite hard.
Allow the commentary. By the way, from the blue team, I just have a question. Vel'Koz is most likely mid, I'm guessing,
Mhm.
against
Yeah, I think so.
the
The Yasuo, probably?
Yasuo. And a fun fact, if I'm not mistaken, I'm pretty sure that Yasuo doesn't stop the Vel'Koz ultimate.
No, it doesn't.
Because it's
Yes.
not project.
Exactly. Which
Elizabeth,
is,
however,
although he has a lot of mobility, so he should be able to outposition.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I actually think it will stop the Vel'Koz W, even though it normally doesn't stop ground particles, because as the W travels along the ground, I think it actually stops as it gets to the wind wall, like the
It'll
Orianna ball
stop.
does.
It'll stop all of
In front of
Vel'Koz's
it.
spells besides the ult, because even the
Mhm.
stun, even though it's a circle thing, you fire like
Yeah.
a bolt thingy.
But
I
that's
think you
going to
can
be a
block the
lot of
bolt.
things that Yasuo can block with this wind wall.
And with the Nami Yasuo Vi combo, he's got good setup for his ulti. He doesn't have to rely on himself. But
Yeah,
the only problem that could serve big for the blue team, the Skada locking up Yasuo is massive.
Yeah. Although they've got very little way to force a fight on the blue team.
Not
So
a lot
they
of
might-
long range engage. Relies
I
on
feel
Skada
like
running.
Apparently,
them.
Windwall
It's gonna be-
doesn't block Vel'Koz's ult, I'm getting told.
Yep. Yeah,
It
we know
doesn't,
that.
that's what we said.
Oh, right, okay. Viewer just decided to.
Comment on it. Yeah, that's fine. And when it comes to Django, I'm really afraid that the Vi, because I know that Delicious, his name is Matt, and I know him. I'm really hoping that he goes full tank, because if he doesn't, they're gonna be really struggling. Just on the fact that they wouldn't really have a front line, because they have a Vlad top. And they need a front line with the Yasuo, otherwise they will not be able to
Otherwise,
force
the
their way
Skarner
through.
ult's just going to grab the Yasuo, pull him
Yes.
back, blow him up, and Vi's going to have the same problem, because she'll be obviously in trying to set up
Yeah,
for the Yasuo ult.
so I really
The
hope
purple
he
team's
doesn't
got
go.
quite a few late game picks as well. The Yasuo, the Vlad, and the Sivir. They're not massive early game or mid game powerhouses.
What do you think about the top lane matchup, Chris? Nidalee versus Vlad?
Well, it's pretty obvious that Vlad is gonna lose early game, considering he's one of the poorest, like one of the weakest laners in the early game. He obviously scales very well with levels, so if he literally gives up some CS in the early game and doesn't get forced out,
As long as he lives, you just gotta
Yeah.
live.
he should be able to hold his turret, which is the most important part in that matchup from what I can see. I have experienced that matchup, and that's even with the old Nidalee, where she didn't have as much chase as she does now, in my opinion. So it's very important to keep the turret early on, just
Yeah.
for the fact that if she gets that turret very early, she will chase you through the lane.
You
I feel
gotta
like
be
very
careful of
efficiently.
those early level all-ins as well by Nidalee, because her potential to all-in now with the hunted mark and the pounce range is massive, and Vlad does not deal well with that early game.
A
I
fun
feel like
fact
there's
for
gonna
our
be a very
viewers, by the way.
Sorry, Chris?
Yeah, I'm sorry. A fun fact for our viewers, for those who didn't really read through the patch notes, Nidalee was actually somewhat buffed. Her Q is now more accurate, but the only nerf that she received was the pounce range was reduced on marked targets by 50, if I'm not mistaken.
Was indeed.
So it should be a little bit more difficult for Nidalee to get on the Vladimir. I'm just not really sure how he's going to play it, just because Vladimir's cooldowns are very long early in the game, and it's very hard to itemize against a Nidalee, just because all of her scaling, all of her abilities actually do magic damage. But top lane Nidalee builds Bruiser, so her auto attacks and with attack speed do obviously physical damage. So that's kind of gonna be very hard. It depends how well Vladimir dodges the spears and kites the Nidalee out. Anyway, that's enough about the top lane.
I feel like the thing you were talking about the early turrets is actually going to be a really big factor in the bot lane as well, because obviously Caitlyn pushes very hard, and Thresh normally runs attack damage runes. I'm actually just going to have a check for myself. Is he running them? I think he is running them. The
Yeah,
attack
I
damage
guess we
runes.
should check that first, since
Yep.
we're doing educational stream right now, to see if we agree with the way. Oh my god. Oh my god, I'm really sorry, but I do not agree with the Vladimir masteries, even though I haven't seen what he's running, for one simple reason, and Stu, back me up here.
Yeah.
He's got the relic. He's got the shield mastery. Nope. He's got the shield mastery.
Is very much so not an efficient mastery point. You're
He's
gonna
too
lose.
deep in defense for Vlad.
Yeah, a lot of Vladimirs, like, there are two ways to build them, and one of them is going very deep into obviously the offensive tree, and going 9 into defense. The other one, which is actually very, very interesting, is the utility Vladimir, which kind of fell out of favor when they changed the 21 mastery, like at the beginning of this season, to only being out of combat. But it's still very, very nice just because of the fact that you can get a lot of CDR, and Vladimir, since he shouldn't really itemize too heavily on CDR, he needs to get it
Somewhere else.
yeah, exactly. So I really do not agree with the mastery, like we're going so deep into the defense, just because he should basically he is reducing his scaling throughout the game, and if you're gonna pick Vladimir, you are after this incredible amount of damage, since he doesn't really offer anything else. As you know, he doesn't have much CC, and I mean he's a tanky mage. For a mage he's tanky, but
He's still a mage at the end of the game.
exactly, that is what I want to say.
I feel
One
like
thing-
the Skarner runes. Oh,
I
sorry.
was going to
is that
say
you,
one
Tally?
thing I will mention. I don't think it's a meta now for supports to walk in lane with a ward first. I think they most supports now will
no,
take
it's
their
meta, it's
gold
bullshit.
item, pots, and their trinket for the
That
sustain.
is correct.
So just making a point, because I know Phoenix Bursters took a
Wow.
ward, and early
I
game
have
he should be
spoken to him
okay.
about that. He clearly doesn't listen to me. But yeah, I want to talk about the Skarner runes, because Skarner is actually running lifesteal in the jungle, which I feel like is some.
I'm being
wasted
told
statistics there.
921 is fine. 921.9 is Vlad is mainly for easy lanes. 921.0 is very good in lanes where you will struggle, and 0921 Vlad is not viable after the utility tree nerfs. This goes with Rumble and Katarina also. That's a viewer that's had their opinion as well.
Oh yeah, actually I'm gonna have the chat and actually a lot of Korean Vladimirs in solo queue have been running the utility masters just because it's still fine, and it kind of contributes to the fact that they cannot really fight early game, so they kind of get this, first of all they get the extra potion with the Dawn Shield, which is actually a lot for Vladimir.
Vladimir
anyway,
up top here is actually struggling a lot against this Nidalee. You can see even with his really heavy defense masteries,
yeah,
he's still just taking a lot of damage.
he
Blew
should
the
be
pool
playing
a
it
bit too
way
early in that
more.
trade.
Yeah,
See,
lot of-
he knew Nidalee was in that bush, and he really needed to position behind
Yeah.
minions in that situation.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, he just wasn't paying attention to the actual minions
and
that were dying.
diverting your attention to mid. Yasuo had to flash, unfortunately.
Nidalee
that
has
is-
also been forced to
yeah.
flash in the top lane. You can see on both teams.
Ouch.
The hook
Here
is
is
actually
something I
landed there.
don't agree with the way the Sivir is playing at the moment. Wow,
Oh,
wow.
that was very aggressive at Caitlyn. I mean, that's a mistake a lot of AD carries will make.
Yeah,
you
you
really need to consider these things, because a flash on an AD carry is much more important in a defensive capacity than it's ever going to be in an offensive capacity. You can flash for kills, but it is a
But only
huge
if you're
risk.
certain. Yeah,
You have to
need
be
certain.
100%, and you knew the summoner heal was up there.
And
Ignite's
the
actually
way-
gone out
What
from
time did
Yasuo.
his flash go out on the Caitlyn?
It was after the 4 minutes, so it would have been the full gold first. But there, Yasuo picks it up in mid lane.
Yes.
You can see, Caitlyn's actually been caught by the bubble here. She's going to take a lot of damage, but Thresh is in on
Thresh
Sivir.
is doing a lot of damage to Sivir.
He is, however, tanking a lot of minion damage.
Yeah,
Nami's
here's
just
where I
landing
feel
those
like the
autos.
Nami's, she doesn't have much mana. Can you check if she's running mana regeneration? Like, I know that you do. Wow, that's a very bad play by the... That's a very bad play by the Vladimir. He should not really go in like that. You need to be extra defensive when you're facing the Nidalee. Although, yeah, he has to die here.
Nidalee
Wow.
is actually tanking a lot of creep
She
damage in this
is.
fight. He needs to pull back into the wave, and if he
Yes.
can actually fight in amongst this wave, he can take this here very easily.
Yeah, well,
But
no,
there's
that's
Skarner, that's the pull is out very early there.
very early.
But Vi's waiting in the
it's
bot
still
lane.
fine.
She's gonna get. They're gonna get in on the Caitlyn.
Nice, that was a
Very
very
good
nice
by Nami.
move.
The red buff's
Uh,
procced on Thresh, but he's not gonna go down.
Yeah, they decided to play it safe. Yeah, I've seen a lot of junglers in lower elo are trying to force things too hard, and that's literally one of the biggest mistakes. As you know, I'm a very passive jungler when I play it, but I still feel like if you're not as experienced, Obviously, trying stuff out is very nice, but being a little bit more passive is way better than forcing things too hard, because if it backfires,
You end up dead.
yeah, you end up dead, and the laners are gonna have to suffer the consequences. It's not like most other lanes. When you screw up, you're the one who has to fix it afterwards. Obviously, you can try as a jungler, but most of the time the pressure that's gonna be felt is gonna be by the laners themselves rather than the jungler.
I just
That
want to
makes
throw
any
out a
sense?
comment here that on blue side, you can see at the moment there are 4 of the 5 trinkets on cooldown. This
Yeah.
is something that you never really want to happen. If your trinket is up, unless you are level 8, you want to be placing it. Sometimes you don't want to place it when you're level 8, because you want to wait for that level 9 to get the cooldown reduce on it, so that you're not losing 90 seconds. But at this level, you want to just get the trinket down, unless, of course, you're Nidalee here, who doesn't really need it and isn't really much
in
risk
this,
of
I
being
was gonna
dove.
say.
But especially in the bot lane, when that Vi gank came, the trinkets were available, no one was really putting out the wards. You've got to communicate that kind of stuff with your AD carry and rotate the trinkets in the early game.
You've got the Quillcoat on Skarner as well, with the ward not currently being utilised. Always good for a bit of vision if you want to find out for your team where the enemy jungler is about.
I just want to point out that the pink ward is currently a pink ward in the Tribush of bot lane, the purple side Tribush, the one actually up on the ledge next to the blue buff. This is a really wasted pink ward. They are at absolutely very low risk of being dove.
Yeah.
And this
Diving
is
in
not
Naomi Sivir is pretty
pretty
hard.
dangerous.
It's going to have to be a
Wow.
dire
Oh,
situation.
top lane.
Remember, the
Yeah,
turrets
okay.
got buffed, so diving early on is stupid now.
Yes. So these wards are actually even less useful.
Wow.
When
Nidalee goes
the
back in.
Nidalee jump in,
And
he gets
she-
the ignite.
Yeah.
You have to be very careful how close you get to Nidalee's when you have that mark on you.
And not only that, it's actually in the top lane. It's very important having the feeling for the minion damage. That is a skill that a lot of people struggle with, even in a higher elo. Actually, people who are not accustomed to the top lane, they don't really think about it. Just because in mid lane it's way easier to kind of disengage the minions.
Shorter lane, you can reset them faster, but in top,
Yes,
the minions will
and in
chase you
bot
through
lane,
half the
it's
lane.
kind of, I mean, I'm sorry if I'm mistaken, but there's 2 people who actually, like when you're
Oh,
dying.
the Yasuo has actually
Well,
gone
here
out
it is.
onto
I'm
Vel'Koz.
gonna. Oh.
The laser goes, but this is the problem. With very low mobility champions against picks like Yasuo, you really struggle. Vel'Koz struggles in a lot of lanes. just
He
because
should back.
has no
Skarner
mobility.
should back because
Yes.
he's going to die here, 100%.
He is definitely gonna
Yeah.
die.
Yeah.
Only the level 5 on Skarner trying to pick a fight with the level 8 Yasuo.
Yeah.
This is something a lot of people miss out. A level is worth, if you discount the mana that you gain from actually leveling up, because that's kind of not that useful a stat, but a level up is still worth about 400 gold in statistics.
Yeah.
So if someone is a level up on you, they can actually also be considered to be a kill up on you for the period that they are higher level than you. So a lot of the time, that was a very nice
Nami
W.
quite
by
severely
Phoenix
out of
first,
position there.
but it
Oh,
was a
nice
nice
bubble.
The
W.
bubble is very nice
Nice,
though.
Bubble. The
And the
exhaust comes-
exhaust,
exhaust goes down on Thresh.
They
which is
should-
not good, but they are tanking a lot of
a
minion
lot of
damage here.
minions. Here is what I mean.
Dominic, he'll
Like,
come
people
back.
need to have
Yeah.
a better. People need to have a better feeling about the minion damage, and that comes obviously with a lot of practice, but also like just being calm in the trades, because a lot of people like get overexcited in those trades, and I don't feel like that's always beneficial.
Also,
Uh,
Caitlyn here, a lot of people mistake. You need to be very aware of your range. Caitlyn in that fight was probably not using 100 of her 630 range when the Sivir was trading autos and being in range of Nami.
What do you feel
Yeah,
about
heals
this blade, by
especially.
the way, on the Sivir? Not the blade, but the light
The
steel.
Berserk. Is there actually lifesteal runes on the server currently? On the server?
He's got the Vamp Scepter.
Yeah, the Vamp Scepter is what I mean.
My brain's melting.
Just
I'm not
for the
actually
laning phase, it's
sure
not
what
too
the Vamp
shabby.
Scepter
I
is going to
suppose.
build into.
But
I
it
guess
does
this
depend
Vamp
what you build.
Scepter is going to
Wow.
go into a blade. Oh,
Wow.
the Yasuo gets the ult again.
It's very difficult.
Yeah.
Unfortunately for the Vel'Koz, first of all, he is building the chalice, which is something I despise. First of all, even I'm sure Barnabas knows my opinion about that, but even with the old chalice and Holy Grail in an AD matchups, I would refrain from building it. I would
Oh, the
actually
Vel'Koz ult is actually going to here. Yasuo's chosen to flash. He could have just slid through a lot of these minions.
Yeah, that is something that we like we consider a lot as a little bit higher elo players. The fact that we're very greedy about our summoners, just because we know, like literally, you need to think about your summoners. Like just think about how many times you use the summoners every game. It's not as much as people think. It's actually around how
The
many times you
Skarner
use?
is out here, and
Oh,
Skarner does not have enough mana to
yeah.
do this.
And that's he's over chasing here.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you really need to look at your mana bar.
Yep.
You need to know the range of your spells, especially because Skarner really did not know how much distance he could cover there
Yep.
with his ulti active, and I'm sure he thought that he could pull Yasuo into the turret
And he
and
got
force
2
him
tower.
to take a couple of turret
yeah.
hits, but it just wasn't ever going to be enough.
Yeah.
But yeah, you need to be very, very greedy with your summoner spells a lot of the time.
Yeah.
You're only going to
Like-
get maybe 10 uses out of them in a game.
Not even that. Like 10 uses on a flash means you're using it like
On
it's a
cooldown.
50 minute game and you're using it on absolute cooldown.
Yeah.
And that's not realistic. You mostly get 7 or maximum 8 like flashes every game. And that's even like on the that is kind of high, and that's why you need to be very greedy with them. Obviously, sometimes you gotta die, and you gotta feel angry at yourself for that. I can very much understand that because I personally, well,
Do that
that's
a
one-
lot.
Yeah, I do that a lot. But if you don't push yourself to try to be greedy for them, you will never learn the boundaries. And when you actually need it, that's why I feel it's better to play around with it and make mistakes rather than just be safe and, well, never have your flash up when you actually need it.
Yeah, a lot of the
There are
time,
also situations you need to know when, even when using your flash, you can't survive, so you don't use your flash.
Yep.
Definitely.
One thing I want to say about the Nidalee top, I really disagree with the fact that she's maxing her spear. I actually think that it's a waste.
What, even
just
with the
because
takedown
she-
damage, Chris?
the
Definitely.
takedown damage actually scales with your
Of the
ranks
level.
in aspect of
Yeah.
the skill, which is the
It's
ult,
actually the
not with
the
your
level
ranks
build.
in...
Yep. It has always been the case that the damage on Cougar form ability scales with the level of the Cougar form itself, rather than the original abilities in the melee form. Oh,
Oh.
nice bubble. That was a very nice bubble. They're forcing here too hard. That's what I mean.
Yeah,
Look at this. She took 3 tower shots and now she has to go back. She cannot apply any pressure around the map now. Oh, and here it is. I wanna just before I forget it. As I was saying about the top lane, the Nidalee Q should not be maxed. Her biggest advantage in lane is this mixed damage, the fact that she does a lot of magic damage in her Cougar form, and she does a lot of attack damage with her auto attacks, and the fact that she has the attack speed buff from her heal. And that's why I feel you should max this, especially since this patch her heal mana costs have been reduced. I feel
it's
like that's
going to be 120 at max rank now instead
Exactly.
of 140.
So
I'd
it's-
just like to say also about the Nidalee, she's actually got 105 ability power at the moment. Now that is very high ability power for a top lane Nidalee. A top lane Nidalee normally
I
goes
believe
more...
this Nidalee is going the Aether
Lich
Wisp
Bane.
with the Sheen is going to be a
Yeah,
Lich
that's
Bane.
going to be a Lich Bane. She's
that is
going...
a very early. Lich Bane cannot be justified if you don't have at least 250
Yeah.
ability power. At least that's how I think the math works, if I'm not
Have
mistaken.
neither of
you
them
definitely
backed
do.
yet, and are they sat on 2 and 3k gold?
I was just actually looking at the gold, but there's Vlad is actually currently on 2,000 gold.
Yeah.
Vlad needs to go
if-
back.
In certain matchups, you can actually sit on a lot of gold because you're very safe if you're waiting on an item. But most of the time, you do want to be going back regularly and you want to be getting stronger. Especially in this sort of situation, Vlad is actually going to get a very unfavorable recall when he chooses to pick it. Because Nidalee is just going to be able to outpush him now. And he's using this pool way too much.
Yeah, and the other thing, he's maxing the pool second.
Oh.
And here he needs to... Yeah. That is why you need to, first of
Guess
all...
he's going back now.
Yeah. One last thing about top lane, because I've been focusing too much on it, and I don't want to give
There's
feedback
actually
only to
a
the top laners.
lot of fighting going on around this mid lane. Vel'Koz's not going to snipe anyone, although Caitlyn will probably pick up
Whoa,
a kill.
Nami picked a very... Yeah, that was... Wow. That was a panic one. I'm not really gonna comment on that, because it was a panic. I'm not sure if the pathing kind of screwed her over.
But to be very careful about how you actually click on the map as well.
Yeah,
With
it's kind of
regards to
buggy
that
sometimes. Oh,
pathing
look
thing.
at look at that! Wow, look at that! Yeah, so he is getting out of control. another last thing, as I said, last thing about top lane, and I'm gonna split it up in two parts about the Nidalee. Nidalee, nowadays you build her as a bruiser. It's as simple as that. Top lane Nidalee, you build her 100% as a bruiser. The spears don't do enough damage to justify being AP, and as a bruiser, you have the freedom of itemizing defensively. In this matchup, she doesn't need to. She just needed the flat attack damage to just be able to bully Vladimir out of lane. So because Vladimir obviously scales Nidalee in almost every way. So that's why I don't agree with this choice. And on the side of the Vladimir, he needs to be way more passive early. His masteries needs to be he needs to choose a more offensive masteries. He cannot go that deep into defensive, and he shouldn't max pool second. I feel like that is a very poor decision, and especially this using your pool.
Pool
that
clear
is
to
your
waves.
Yeah.
Two things he needs to remember: the pool costs HP. It's your
It costs a
only stats.
lot of HP.
Yes.
It costs 20% of your current HP to
He
use
needed
that
to
sanguine.
ult years ago here, for example.
It increases
Years
his
ago.
damage, so he needs that
Exactly.
all at the
12%
start of the
increased
fight.
damage.
And
And I
here,
mean,
the pool. He uses it literally like trying to regain some HP.
That literally lost him the trade. In terms of health lost versus health lost on Nidalee, that lost him the trade by pooling again, because it just
Yeah.
takes so much of his HP.
And the
Any
thing is-
trade, if you can force the Vlad to pool, he's usually going to lose it.
yeah. The thing is, like, in the situation, he's using the W to do what most people use the E to do.
Yeah, just
That's the
because he
thing.
went for a very, very defensive build. Like, Spirit Visage is nice and all, but it really shouldn't be up. Oh, you see, he used it for the slow, and now he has to flash, and he's dead now.
Yeah.
Because he used it too offensively.
He also needs to be paying attention to his wards, because he's
Yeah.
seen Skarner coming up here, and he wasn't backing off. This
Yeah.
ward has actually okay vision range, right? It's not the best ward, but sometimes
But
you
it's
just have to
enough.
place these wards.
Yeah.
That would have been enough to get him
Yeah.
out with
Okay.
the pull.
Enough about top lane. Let's say more things about mid, because that seems to be the biggest disparity. Vel'Koz. The thing about Vel'Koz is he has a lot of range, but his actual wave clear is. I mean, I don't want to say it's not great,
It's kind of meh.
but it's
None
kind
of his
Um,
spells have got that AoE
Yeah.
big hit impact, because most of it,
Yeah.
well, a large chunk of his damage comes from stacking his passive for the true damage,
Exactly.
and on the
Yeah.
wave you just can't do that for wave clear. It's more of
I'm
a kind of
I'm kind of
What I
considering
want to
something
actually talk
because-
about here, because I don't think anyone else has, neither of you have picked up on this.
The
If you actually
W max.
look at Vel'Koz, no, not the W max. The fact that he hasn't actually maxed anything. If you look,
Yeah.
he's got 2 points in his Q currently, 4 points in his W,
Yeah.
3 in his E, and 5 in his R. Now I know this seems like a really obvious thing, and most people are going to know this, but you really do need to pick a spell to max. Maxing one spell is a lot more efficient than putting just dropping points into everything. You need to pick a
Randomly.
spell, and
Exactly.
you need to get it up.
Chris, you were saying something about the W max. I don't particularly mind the W max
I
if you
don't
get the
mind it
double
at
stack
all.
of the passive out.
Exactly, against a melee champion that is gonna go on you so frequently. I really like it. I just don't like this indecisiveness of not knowing what to max, and I feel like he should have just played it like any mid champion that is getting pressured in lane and just shoved with a W and just
backed off.
Yeah, that's
The thing
exactly
is,
how you play
if you
this
max
lane.
the W, Vel'Koz's wave clear isn't terrible. It's never
Yeah.
going to be great. He's never going to have wave clear like an Orianna, but you can clear the waves with this W.
Yeah,
Um,
and the mana cost is actually not that huge.
No, the mana
As you can
cost-
see, it's 65 at rank
Four.
4, which is actually not bad. I don't think he even if he casts both of both of the
Going to be
W's to clear,
130 mana basically to
which
clear
to
the wave.
clear exactly one wave.
It's very reasonable.
Yeah,
I'm
it is
sorry,
reasonable.
another point I'm going to make. I've just noticed it's sort nearly 20 minutes in, and Thresh has built his boots before his Sightstone. Which I don't think was. It's no matter how fast you move, you needed vision. You
Does
need
anybody
vision.
remember Thresh's starting items? I have a feeling he may have started the Ruby Crystal.
No,
and
it-
if
I thought he started.
I think it's at coin.
I start
Actually,
point.
I'm
Let's go
actually
back
having a
and
look at it. He
find out.
started-
Can we go one roll by
He
roll
started
by
Ancient
roll,
Coin.
if possible?
Yeah. Okay. Let's go roll by
let's-
roll and let's talk about itemization, because itemization is really very important.
Yes.
What
we'll
you
start
pick
off
in
with the
max-
AD carries, because there's a major difference in the AD carry builds
Okay.
in the
Let's
bottom lane.
let's talk about this. Right. Sever has picked up the Bloodthirster. I'm pretty sure everyone here is going to say the exact same thing as I'm about to say.
No,
We do not like the Bloodthirster.
no, Get rid.
One thing before the Thirster, she went the F sword of Amceptor, picked up the Brawler's glove, went back to lane, and then back to finish the Bloodthirster. In the same way that you don't really want to be split maxing skills, you don't really want to be split item building either. You're building an item nearly 99% of the time, you just want to stick with building that item. If you back with not enough gold to finish said item, potions are a better pickup than a small item like Brawler's glove.
A random crit.
Yes. And Jesus, please.
Yeah. Well, some people tend to choose to play that way. I personally do
I
not
don't
think
like
it's a
playing that way.
very consistent.
Also, on that note about the split buying of
Can you
items,
please look at Yasuo quickly?
yes, he has 2 pairs of boots.
We know that. We know that. It's fine.
Why?
But that's not like a that's not a serious mistake. That's actually he's just misclicked. I
Yeah.
don't really want to call people out for a slight misclick. That everyone's done that and not noticed. That's been an LCS before.
Yep.
Has it?
Yes,
Yep, it has.
someone
Yeah.
has bought 2 pairs
I
of
remember
boots.
Darius. I remember
Yep.
Darius.
Because
that's
everybody
just
is
kind of a
suddenly
silly
messaging
thing.
me going, does Yasuo? Somebody get a message to Yasuo and tell him he's got 2 boots.
The summoner heal there was very weird. That the fight was completely over, and then Vel'Koz just summoner healed.
Never want to be using the summoner heal for sustain. It's always for
Yeah.
those clutch fights when you because using it for
When you-
sustain, it's showing the enemy you have these cooldowns and what HP you have. If you hold on to them, they can a lot of the time, even at high elos, be caught out by how much effective
Yeah.
HP you're holding on to.
You never want to give the enemy free information. You want to keep as much from them as possible. It's like when you're playing Thresh. You don't want to just be throwing hooks at the enemy, because oftentimes the threat of you hitting your spells on them is actually better than hitting the spells on them. 'Cause
That
the Thresh hook
reminds
might-
me of a funny story, which I think Stu and Rick actually know about. We have a common friend that plays support, and I had a very nice saying for him when he was playing Blitzcrank. And just because he's not a very good Blitzcrank, I asked him never to use his hook, and that he would actually be helping me in lane more. And I know that sounds very mean, but it's actually a very nice point for some people.
But if the
just-
hook never goes down, there's always the pressure of the hook, even if you don't think it'll hit.
Exactly. Thinking about it like that, just if you look like you want to throw the hook and try to position like you want to throw the hook, the enemy laners need to react. So that's forcing pressure, and you need to realize that once your hook is down, that pressure
You
is
have no
gone.
pressure.
Exactly. And Thresh is somewhat similar, although he's not that reliant on hitting it.
For some reason, they've actually elected here not to kill
Kill
Nami.
Nami. Yeah, they decided
Really
against
neat.
I don't know. I think the exhaust might nearly saved her from the.
Yeah, but they actually
Although the
backed
exhaust
off
did go
before
down.
Nami was dead, assuming that she was going to
She would
die.
die,
You never
yeah.
want to assume that people are going to die.
Yeah.
You need
You
to
two
either...
are more clued up on the jungle than me. I spawn gauntlets first on Skarner.
Iceborne Gauntlet.
I don't
mean,
think it's a bad item on Skarner,
Yeah.
but I feel like he needs to item it. Like, he's bought his Ancient Golem here, and you see that the Ancient Golem gives 25% bonus HP.
Yeah.
25% extra bonus HP. You want to be making some use of that. You want to be itemizing some HP to get the gold
Build
value
needs some
out of that.
cohesion,
Yeah.
and with the
also,
Iceborne
Skarner
not
ult
been
there
much HP.
was very unnecessary on Vlad. Skarner ulted Vlad in the top lane. There was no
Yeah, I don't
reason
know.
to-
I think it's because Nidalee came in. He was scared Vlad would turn it.
Yeah. But it's the same way with your summoner spells. You need to be really greedy with your ultimates a lot of the time. Not as greedy as with your summoner spells, but you need to make sure you know why you're ulting and what you're going to accomplish with it.
Yeah, that is something that most people don't think about, is being able to prioritize your resources in the sense of having obviously summoners on top, or like obviously at the top is staying alive or getting a kill, then is the summoners, then is the ultimates, and then you need to have a priority of your skills to some extent. Especially in champions that use like resources. I was saying that especially like champions that use Fury, but that's another. I'm not really gonna go into that. But you need to have some kind of a leveling system, or knowing which one is more important to you. Because when you have that in your mind, you will have a little bit more. Your resource managing is gonna improve drastically, just because knowing what you like better, if not really like better, but knowing what's stronger, will let you like choose how to
Play
trade
different
and
situations.
exactly. And yeah, let's go back into the items.
Yeah,
The
because we
ice-
only really did. We haven't even
Yeah.
done Vlad yet, so let's talk about Vlad and his
Okay,
items.
first of all, we went into did we
Oh,
talk
we
about
did
AD
AD
carries?
carries.
We did the AD carries. We did Skarner.
He sold his
for
boots,
Scar-
just to let you know. The boots have gone. We are now down to 1 pair of boots.
Yes, he only has one shoe now. Now, in a lot of situations, you want 2 shoes. You need to have 2 shoes. Oh, Vlad has been caught here. The wind wall is really
Whoa.
good, though.
Yeah,
Oh,
Skarner's
the
over
Skarner
visible.
is going very deep. He took a lot of turret hits that just were not necessary.
Right, the Vlad build. So, the Spirit
Vlad
Visage.
the
Vladimir,
rush-
actually, unlike his teammate, has elected not to buy 2 pairs of boots. He's went with no boots at all. And then he's got the
Maybe-
Summoner Hail goes out again.
Maybe it's just the fact that Yasuo saw Vladimir and he decided to buy him boots as well.
Yeah.
Maybe he was-
Not
maybe that's
realizing
why.
that this isn't Dota and you can't actually give it. I don't think you can give it in Dota, but I'm
No,
going to
you
say that you
cannot.
can.
Let's skip that because you're in from. Anyway.
Anyway,
Uh,
but yeah,
let's
Vlad
stick to
elected
what we
not to
know.
buy a pair of boots, which is
But before we go
obviously-
on, there was a quick suggestion from chat that Vlad could have actually had a few kills on Nida by using his pools and attacking motion. This is just not viable. It costs 20% of his current HP. If in a trade that's not a full out fight, if you trade and then lose another 20% of your current HP, you're gonna lose the trade
Yeah.
every time.
And
Yeah.
if you need
Yasuo is very moderately AFK and taking some random spears.
wow.
The
Knockout
red
laser
card
comes
out.
out. Not a bad decision to zone him
Yeah,
off the
that
tower.
was actually, like, that's what I'm talking about accomplishing something with your ultimate. He wasn't killing anyone there. He was never going to kill anyone. But he did accomplish something. He pushed them all off the turret and they got to take the turret. That is free objectives, and that's accomplishing things with your spells.
Also,
sorry, you were-
we'll go on to the Leandres from Vlad. I don't think, even if you want the Leandres, getting it so early
early,
is
not worth
useful
it.
because it's percent damage. That's all you get out of it, is the extra percent damage, and early game is just not that big.
Yeah, for Vladimir, the best, obviously you can try to go for so spell vamp, but not anymore. For Vlad, it's very important to build him just as a mage. He has his passive allows him to get tanky enough. The Spirit Visage is not a bad pick, not bad pick at all. But when you're facing a Nidalee, obviously the Nidalee didn't itemize correctly as well. But most of the time, she's gonna do split damage. So your responsibility as a Vlad needs to be to get damage. It's literally like get damage, get flat HP, and the thing about Vladimir is he can do both with 1 stats, and that's ability power. And I feel like he didn't really like the HP is another way to do it with the CDR. I was kind of like he started with a Kindle Gem, which I don't really disagree with, but finishing the Spirit Visage so early, I feel like is very excessive, just because he didn't really have the pressure on the Nidalee when he hit level 9, and that's when Vladimir actually starts to scale Nidalee very hard. Anyway, enough about her items. Enough
can
about
we just-
Vladimir's items.
Can we
Rick-
just go to Twitch stream on chat? There was a question about
Oh.
Zed.
Sure.
Is he more of a suicide bomber than an assassin when it comes to late game team fight? So-
No. You do not. No champion actually wants to be played as a suicide bomber.
Zyra, sometimes.
In some
Very
champions
specific.
with specific passives can be played that way, but those are normally passives which do something when you die. See Karthus. But Zed does not have that passive. Zed actually does not have a bad sustained damage, and he does not have bad cleanup for other low health targets. His
Exactly.
passive
This-
does good damage.
Overall on assassins, it's not a terrible strategy to wait and see in a team fight. Let your people go in first, watch how the enemy team splits, pick a target, take it down whilst the rest of the enemy team's fighting your team.
Yeah.
Just because your team has engaged does not mean you have to go in with them. Obviously, you need to attend the fight at some point.
Yeah.
But going in straight away can be a terrible decision that gets you blown up.
Yeah, it's finding this right balance. Obviously, going in too late. Sometimes, if you wait too much, you don't really you miss your opportunity. So it's very important to find this balance of where is the latest I can go in without my team losing.
Yeah.
Because like even if you see the opening, great, but sometimes there is no opening and you need to just try to contribute to the team fight as much as possible, which is actually the very hard thing to do.
I just want to talk about that situation in the bot lane that just happened. In that situation, you see the they actually died there because of the lack of the early Sivir ultimate. If Sivir had popped that ultimate earlier, they'd have had a lot more move speed to escape with.
Yeah,
It would have
they
been
would
the
have
same with
walked off.
Nami. Nami could have disengaged that very easily. That's actually a case of being too greedy for your
Yeah.
cooldowns.
Wow. And
Uh,
now, let's go very, very quickly over the items, okay? Because we have strayed away from it. Oh, okay, a team fight. You see what I mean? I hope
Yeah,
you see what I
unfortunately
mean.
there was a heck of a lot going on. Vlad, a lot overextended there.
Yeah, and so is Sivir, and this is where it
There's
kind
actually
of goes
no
downhill.
one defending Sivir at the moment. She is just
Yeah.
being jumped on by Nidalee, because this fight started without the Nami there. Very important that you do not fight without members of your team there unless you are ungodly
No, that's
ahead.
not
This is
going back
not
in.
a good turn. There are 4 people there, and there are 2 of you, and Nami's not going to make much of a contribution to that fight.
And she's most likely going to die.
Yeah, this is the
Just
turret is
because
dead.
the turret is dead.
Yeah.
Uh,
Swim, fishy, swim!
well, he's downstream from this point.
Yeah,
Anyway.
that's
Oh.
fishy.
Anyway.
Okay, we're good. Let's
very,
go back
very
to the
quick.
itemization.
Yeah.
Actually, Yasuo's itemization is fine.
Yeah,
he has-
pretty dead on.
Pretty dead on. Some people prefer an earlier, say, like a Guardian Angel as a defensive item, but this is an absolutely fine way to itemize Yasuo.
The items are fine. There is some way you can change up the order. This Yasuo went Static Shiv into Blade. Considering he was so fed early game, the consideration of Static Shiv into Infinity Edge,
Yeah, he would have just had a lot more
Considering-
damage.
the
And-
sustained damage from Blade, good, but if you're early game powerhousing, getting the Infinity Edge is just so much bigger.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's not a bad decision. Infinity Edge is a very expensive item, but he had a lot of money and he could have afforded it, so I
I
guess
think
you
at the
could
point that he
definitely
finished
argue-
his Blade, he was around 7-2 in terms of score and a good amount of CS.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so there's definitely an argument that I5 would have been a better pickup.
Yeah, and his Blade is kind of. I understand that a lot of people pick Blade and they second, and most of the people who build a Blade second are doing it to try to do some kind of split pushing. But I mean, he didn't do split pushing, which is actually pretty good because it's very hard to do it against Skarner. Because if you cannot really
He
get
can
away
run
from
you down.
Skarner. Yeah. And
Oh, when Nidalee is caught here, I think she's going to go
wow.
down very quickly.
Wow, that was actually
A small
very
thing
nice.
I'm picking up on. I mean, obviously I'm not of any ELO, but the Thresh has maxed his Ruby Crystal. I don't think that's a sensible thing to
Yes,
do. I
it's
think.
not a sensible thing. Ruby Sightstone offers you almost nothing.
Add to
on
that,
top of the
Nami's
regular
took
Sightstone.
her tier 3 boots over finishing her Mikhails. I'm assuming that's what she's building. Phoenix Burn is obviously trying to build Mikhails there, and she's took
Yeah.
tier 3 boots over the Mikhails.
I actually don't know the situation in which she built those tier 3 boots though. If she built the tier 3 boots when
If
she was
it
in the
was a
situation
reaction.
of being back at base when that 4v5 team fight happened, it might have been a good decision. That's actually more.
Wow.
Oh,
Wow. This is
don't stand in random bushes on your own if you're the AD carry. Be with your team.
yeah.
You are not strong on your own. You're actually very weak. Be
Yeah.
with your team.
Yeah, it is very, very important for AD carries to play a little bit more passive, and not just like maybe to an excessive level, if that makes any sense. Just because like a lot of things, the higher elo you get, the more coordinator people are gonna be at diving you.
That was a nice
So-
nice thingy by Death there to block that ulti.
Yeah.
Very nicely played.
Let's continue with items. We talked about the Skarner items, so let's go jungle. We talked about AD carries. We talked about top. Actually, did we talk about the?
Yes,
Nidalee?
we talked about the top.
Yeah, we talked about the top. Nidalee don't build
We
AP.
talked about the Yasuo.
Hedgehog.
We haven't talked about the Vel'Koz yet.
We
So-
haven't talked about Vel'Koz. Absolutely despise the build. Absolutely despise. Obviously, it's nice he has the Rabadons in the voice staff, which everybody should end with. But in this lane, the reason he lost it, he didn't itemize correctly.
Yes,
Did
he
he outplay
needed
well?
the Seeker's Arm Guard.
Yeah. He needed the Seeker's Arm Guard, Daudon Seeker's Arm Guard, and then you go Morello. It's as simple as that. It is very, very simple in that lane. And going for the Holy Grail first against an AD lane is very detrimental, and you can see the results. I'm not saying it's only the item's fault, but I'm pretty sure things
There
would
is
have been a
an-
little bit different if he built correctly. So, obviously, like maybe he doesn't run any armor just because it was a blind pick, which I feel like that would
Yeah,
that's
that's obviously
unfortunate.
caused him a problem that it was
Yes.
blind picking. He didn't know what lane he was going into.
Yes,
But when he got into the game, he should have been thinking,
Yeah.
is the laner stronger than me? Like, can he full out engage me and kill me? Yes, Yasuo can easily full out engage and kill a Vel'Koz.
Yeah.
So you've got to react to that with your itemization,
Yeah.
and you've got to show respect to your enemy laner's damage. If they have a lot of damage, you need defense.
Yeah,
It's
and the thing
very
is,
simple.
like, just the new Morello is incredible.
It's
incredibly
very,
cost
very cheap.
efficient.
It's 2,200 gold. You get 80% CDR, 20% CDR, and 80 ability power. You get
That's
a passive,
huge.
which actually is not useless.
Yeah, and
Especially
it's
Are we
Especially
talking about the
against
Morella Normacom?
Yeah,
Yeah.
especially against
Without the
Vlad.
passive, Morella Normacom is 135% efficient in terms of gold. That's without the passive.
There
That's
you
how
go.
the stats are for the cost efficiency. And in comparison to the Athenes, it is 400 gold cheaper. You can rush it faster than Athenes.
Breathe,
The passive...
breathe.
Yeah.
We are all very excited about the Morella Nomicon. It is an incredible
Fucking
item.
Morella Normacom, man! No, it's a good item.
Even the passive in late game team fights is going to have an impact, because if you just even get one spell, like at the end of your rotation, onto that AD carry who's below 40% HP, and you
That
cut their
lifesteal is
lifesteal,
gone.
they are going to be really, really sad.
And
pandas.
not only that, look, there is a Vladimir on the enemy
Yeah,
team.
there's a
And the
Nami,
Yasuo to some extent.
and the Yasuo's got lifesteal. There's a lot of people with lifesteal, spell vamp, just HP regen, or even the healing from the Nami. Even just cutting that by a little bit is something. And since the item's already gold efficient, that's just a bonus.
Whoa, this is
Now, that is a massive thing. Now, Baron Core, technically, I wouldn't call a terrible core. The only problem with it, lack of vision. There's no vision control to tell them where the enemy is, how close
when
they
they're
are,
coming.
and if they can finish the Baron.
Same thing, trinkets, there are 2 sweeping trinkets available, and there are wards in this Baron pit from the enemy team. These could have been cleared. The wards around the area could have been cleared. They don't see the enemy team coming, so they don't have wards set up.
it's nice being decisive, but you need to make kind of the balance between being decisive and being reckless,
Yeah.
because
if you
that was
watch
just reckless.
like high reload players, LCS teams, or high elo teams, you will notice that people don't do Baron a lot of the time. People prepare Baron. Like even a minute or 2 minutes beforehand, people will set up the area around Baron so that they control it, and that they have the advantage in the Baron situation.
Because even if you can't finish the Baron, if you've got vision control, you can pick a fight that benefits your team, especially with the narrow corridors coming out of the blue side jungle. With the Nami Yasuo combo, you can destroy a whole team in 2 spells.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
very much.
Very
case.
short thing before hopefully the game is not gonna end very soon. Just in case, I want to talk very quickly about the Vi items, and obviously we talked about the Skarner items, but the Vi items. In the beginning, before the game started, I was talking about the fact that she shouldn't really build
The
too
damage.
offensive, and the Lizard is fine. That is absolutely fine, but this Brutalizer is literally. I believe, please somebody help me out here, if possible. Can you rewind and check? I think it came, like, at least the 2 longswords came before building any defensive items, which I
Yes, they
feel
did. It was Lizard into longswords.
I just want to point out something from the chat that the chat has said. You also have to consider that Baron does actually make you take more magic damage. There is a stacking debuff on that, and that will have an effect on you. And that's something in the chat, and it can't be understated, because taking more damage is obviously going to cause you a problem.
Yeah, exactly. And that's one of the things, one of the reasons why Vladimir does so much damage, because his ultimate makes the enemies take more damage. So it multiplies incredibly well with your team. And that's why he's obviously his disadvantage is the CC, the lack of CC, and his early laning phase, which is very poor. Look at that pull. Very weak pull. He pulled incredibly early, and now he's gonna pay for it.
Again, there's
Cool.
tier 3 boots appearing on a lot of members of Purple Team. The fact that they're already behind in gold is going to mean that these tier 3 boots are expensive. These are very expensive items. These are 400 gold each, well, nearly 500, and that means they're going to lose items.
Yeah.
Like, they're not going to complete items quite as fast. 400 gold isn't a lot on its own, but it becomes a lot when you need that 100 gold to finish your Infinity Edge,
Do
or
you remember a month or two ago when we were watching OGN, and we noticed the tier 3 boots on the initiator and on the support.
were captain boots.
They were captain boots, and I found that incredibly sexy. Obviously, that's a little bit more higher level, but I was hoping at least somebody in the chat would appreciate how fucking cool that is. Yeah, I guess I'm more nerdy than most.
Oh, are the minions actually going to finish this game before they do? No, the minions aren't going to take it. The minions are actually going to win. No, sorry, not going to win.
Well, that
That's
is
the end
how
of the game.
it worked. We talked about most of the builds, so we kind of covered everything. It was kind of chaotic because we had to do commentary
Yeah.
on the game itself.
There was
Wow.
a hell of a lot going on in that game.
Yeah, just because I feel like the more stuff happen, the less things are planned. So it's like it's just chaotic rather than just eventful. If that makes any sense.
Yeah.
Just because it was more people just getting caught very often, and
A real lack of vision control. I mean, one of the biggest things for me this game was that the trinkets were on cooldown a lot, off cooldown a lot of the time.
Just so much. Even if their wards weren't placed in the best of places, using the vision to some extent is better than not using the trinkets, because the trinkets are free. You don't even have to pay for them.
No. You just get the trinket.
And another thing, one last thing about the mid laners, both of them picked up their sweeping lenses very late.
Neither mid laner picked up a sweeping lens.
They didn't. That is a huge mistake, as I believe my friends here would agree on, since usually the mid laner's responsibility is like he has the option of being on both sides of the map. That's why he should pick the sweeping lens a little bit earlier, usually on their first, at latest on their second back. In competitive play, from what I've seen, it's mostly on the first back. Correct me if I'm wrong, by the way.
No, that makes sense. Especially with the sweeping trinket. If you can push advantage in mid, and you've got the sweeping trinket, you can clear out stuff like dragons, or even clear out other lanes' wards when you try to roam, because that'll set up the roam for later.
Yeah.
I just want to mention another thing about these trinkets. No one's upgraded their sweeping trinket. It's anyone who has a sweeping trinket has just left it out with the regular sweeping lens. The Oracle's lens is very powerful. It is 8 seconds of vision of wards and stealth units, and it has a 60-second cooldown. It actually has a lot of uptime where you can use it in. And for things like Baron...
You can clear a whole Baron area with one arm,
can
just
clear the
walking from
Baron
bush to
area.
bush.
Right, while we've got 2 minutes when I'm setting up the next game, if you three would like to go to the events room, just have a chat with those that have just played the game, give them a little bit of quick feedback while I set up the next game.
Oh, by the way, I have to go
okay.
to my coaching session.
That's fine, stream mate.
Me and Brown are
we'll go and offer some feedback.
So, Stu and Rick,
It was
Vladimir.
wonderful to have you, Chris.
yeah, thank you very much.
We'll
Please,
miss your
please
delightful
help them.
commentary where half the game is just about top lane.
I'm very sorry about that.
We'll have a really more balanced commentary next game.
It would just be about...
That's a lie. Me and Stu are a bot lane duo. We're just swapping
Yeah.
what
That's
half
all
of
I
the map
noticed
we're
was bot
focusing
lane.
on.
I was like, I didn't have trinket.
We really couldn't talk much about the top lane, the mid lane, just because it was so